Have you ever had fried jumbo? And can you share with us how that experience went?
So, not fried.
Not
fried?
No.
Who's the young guy that's on ESPN from Plum?
The Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee.
He does so good on College Game Day. Did you see that?
Oh, he's unbelievable. So how did you pick Duquesne to go to school? What were your
So I got a
thoughts there?
scholarship.
Did you?
Yes,
Wow.
dancing.
Dancing.
The Duquesne University
This is a good story.
Tamburitzans.
Tamburitzan.
Yeah.
She's a Tamburitzan,
Eastern
dude.
European folk dancing.
Wow.
Put on your helmets and buckle your chin straps for the wildest podcast held in the Steel City. Dubs and Chickenhawk will give you a taste of the past in fried jumbo.
So I'm here with my Chickenhawk buddy from childhood, and we have a wonderful guest named Shea Murtaugh. Any relation to Danny by chance?
You know, my husband's family says yes.
Yes.
But I'm like, well, how? And they don't know how to explain it. They just say yes.
I would say yes.
So
I'd
yeah.
take
we're going to
a-
go with
Let's
yes.
take a yes.
We're going to go with yes.
Because my
Yes,
opinion,
cousin.
best Pirates manager in history.
Danny Murtaugh.
Danny Murtaugh.
I love saying that I have the name, right? I'm so Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
he was legend.
Hell yeah.
Replaced by Chuck Tanner. Do you remember Chuck Tanner?
Yeah,
he was
know
another
Chuck
good
Tanner
one.
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Old Chuck. Yeah.
So,
Who's our manager now?
our manager is Clint Hurdle, I believe.
Is Clint Hurdle still the manager?
Yes.
Shows
he
you what I
is.
know about baseball anymore.
Clint Hurdle.
I have no idea. Nor do I care.
Yeah. Pirates are tough. Although we had a Pirates tablecloth for all summer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
well, that's
is-
a losing team. So
Yes.
Thank you for joining
So
me on the winning team.
Yeah, when fall hit, we got
We got to do the
Yeah.
Steelers.
we did the Steelers.
But we do love the Pirates.
We do.
We do. It's when I was back when they were doing well. I think it was maybe a preteen. It was the Killer Bees. Do you guys remember?
Yeah.
Barry
Bobby Bonilla.
Bonds, Bobby Bonilla,
Yeah.
something
90s.
Bell, somebody named
Yeah,
Bell.
Josh Bell.
Yep.
Shortstop.
Or J Bell.
Yeah,
J Bell.
the Killer Bees. I had this great T-shirt.
Did
The
you?
Killer Bees, and it was like
Killer Bees. You knew Shea from.
I've known-
maybe explain how you knew.
Well, we're
Shea.
both in the marketing and advertising business, right? So this has to be, I'm going to say 25 years now, Shay.
well, at least
20?
under 20 because my business
20 years?
is 20,
20 years.
and we worked together when I started.
So
my
I
business.
think Inc. at the time, which is still growing strong. And then Shay, we would bring Shay in to do some media buying work when she was a young lass.
Mm-hmm.
And she's gone on to some great things. You want to tell us a little bit about what's going on now with you?
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's a grind, right? So
It always is.
business ownership, but yeah, 20 years in business, work nationally, moved internationally, launched a campaign in Canada in the month of October, which
Yeah.
was fun for some French tire company.
Oh wow.
Have done some international stuff too, but mainly in the U.S. and mainly around the region.
Yeah.
So a lot of different local clients.
Right.
And stuff.
And it's Murtaugh Hoffman?
Hoffman is my maiden name.
Oh.
I usually tell people it's some old white guy that gave me a bunch of money since
Yeah.
my business because they're
Right.
like, "Who's Hoffman?
Hoffman.
Who's Hoffman?" But that's really my maiden name.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah. Well, back when I was growing up, and even in college, all the big agencies had two names. And it was
Oh.
like two partners coming together. So,
Oh, good for you.
so I was like, I'll just name it Hoffman Murtaugh.
yeah.
So I had a great attorney that at the time said, if you can't buy the .com, don't name your business that because as time will go on, somebody will sue you.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I really wanted to call it Media Works, and I came up with all these great names,
Yeah.
but I couldn't get it, so I just went with my two names.
Yeah,
So.
and it's worked out great for you because you are the princess of Pittsburgh advertising. at
I
this
am.
moment.
I am. My claim to fame is I have the largest media only
Right.
agency. So there's a lot of big agencies, much bigger than me, but they
Right.
do full service and they do.
Yeah.
Their media teams are not as large as ours.
Yeah, you stuck to what you know best, and
Yes.
you've done great. Yeah, so that's how I know her.
Yes.
Okay.
And we've kept in
Wonder-
touch because people that are addicted to that industry always keep in touch. There's no doubt about it. So
Definitely.
we,
But Hoffman Murtaugh, it sounds so stately.
I mean, it sounds like two
Yeah.
really smart people,
Yeah.
right?
I like
yeah, it
Yeah.
is nice. It is
Yeah.
nice. And I was talking to her, doing a little bit of work on the side, and I was like, you know what? You'd be a great guest on our show
And I said, you don't even know.
because she's a Pittsburgh woman who's kicked ass.
Yeah.
And so
A
here
C
she
student.
is, Dubs.
C
Yeah.
students rule the world.
Yeah.
C
I'll tell you.
students do rule the world.
We hire A
You're
students.
looking at 3 of them here.
And we're ruling this podcast right now.
Yeah, I'm retired early. You retired early. And you're
Yeah.
heading on the way to doing whatever you
I'm
want.
figuring
with
out
yourself.
my retirement early.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you're back to work because you.
Yeah, I'm
couldn't-
never quit. I can't quit.
I mean, it'd be hard.
I can't
to
quit.
stop cold
Oh,
turkey. I'll tell you.
I love it. I don't. It don't bother me
I
one
can't.
bit.
do
Oh,
it.
you like it. You like the retirement.
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
if you're in marketing like you are, you'll still won't be able to just walk away.
No.
It
I
won't
think
happen.
marketing. If I was in marketing, I don't think I'd walk away either.
'Cause it's just
fun.
everywhere.
It's interesting.
It's
and
Well,
it's
you
very
got to be
creative.
5 steps ahead all the time.
Yeah.
It's strate-
Like something you're like, oh, we're going to do this. And then 2 months later, it's dead.
It's a strategy battle every minute, and I hate when I look at stuff and I see people screwing up their strategy and what to do market-wise. I'm like, God damn it, I got to get back in that game.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to
have
help.
a-
It's helping people.
Marketing question, but maybe I'll do it later.
Yeah,
we
well-
got to get her.
Oh, I want to
about
talk about
where
fried
she
jumbo.
grew up.
I want to talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
I got to talk about
Question.
fried jumbo.
Our first question, always. I don't know how we got past that, but since we're called fried jumbo, we always ask Shea. Our first question is, "Have you ever had fried jumbo?" And can you share with us how that experience
So,
went?
not fried.
Not
Not fried?
No.
You're
not a-
missing
not
the
a-
best.
What do you do? Microwave it.
No, I am a bologna and cheese fan on
Yeah.
white bread
Oh,
with
yeah.
mayonnaise.
Yeah. Miracle Whip?
No, Hellman's.
Hellmann's?
I'm a Hellman's girl.
My father,
And then I got to have sweet.
pretty much, that was his only diet.
What,
That-
Hellman's mayonnaise?
Hellmann's mayonnaise on bologna with cheese.
American cheese.
American
Land
cheese.
Lakes.
Right.
American on white
Right.
bread.
And there is
only-
a difference in
yeah.
Land Lakes.
And I have
Oh, it's the best.
I have
It
grown
is.
into whole grain bread though.
Oh,
You
boy,
know, like
good
a
for
little
you.
rustic, whatever I can get, and then I still eat this sandwich. Yes.
like
and
that.
I have to have sweet gherkins
Wow.
with my
Wow.
bologna and cheese. Yeah.
Somebody
I'll have to
just
tell my
put her on.
brother-in-law, Bob Fawcett. He does
Yeah.
Bellevue pickles. They
Bellevue
have sweet
pickles and jelly.
gherkins. They have the best sweet gherkins.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I'll have to
Bellevue
try
pickles
this.
and jellies are from right here in
What's
Harrison
the company
City.
called?
Bellevue
Bellevue.
Pickles.
Oh, Bellevue. I know them. I buy their sweet gherkins.
Yeah.
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 And their bread and butters.
They're
Oh,
right here out
yeah.
of Penn, PA.
Yeah,
I
so
was
that-
just inducted into my distinguished
Oh,
alumni Hall of Fame. I'm on the wall. My big mug is on the wall.
Is it? Did you get to sign it or anything? Or
No, but I would take the bet that I would go back and ask my teachers if they thought, because I was like a C student. So if I would go back now and say, I'm going to be on that wall one day. I'm going to be on that wall. They would have been like, yeah, that's not happening.
Who's
And
the
that-
young guy that's on ESPN from Plum? I
Oh,
watch him every day.
yes, because they want him
He's
to be in the
great.
distinguished alumni, but he can't because it's football season.
The Pat McAfee.
Pat
Pat
McAfee.
He does so good on
yeah.
College Game Day. Did you see that?
Oh, he's unbelievable.
He's unbelievable. He just throws some more love into that than anybody
he's
else.
just
man.
so
Pittsburgh.
but he's so good with what he says too, like his analysis and everything. I mean, he has a lot of energy, but his analysis is always right.
Dude, he went to WVU.
Yeah, he's a punter.
He's
Yeah,
a
they want
party
him
man.
to. They want to make him a distinguished alumni, but
Oh,
he
he
can't.
is.
It's always like we just had the event 2 weeks ago, and it's always during football season for him.
Sorry,
can't
Pat.
do it.
Take a back
Pat,
seat
you can't
to
get on the
Shea.
wall. Come on, Pat.
Take a back
Wait,
seat
back
to
to
Shea.
Shea.
Yeah, Pat, you can't get on the wall, man.
Yeah,
You're like, too
jeez.
busy dealing with
He's
your
not on
job.
the wall, but you are.
I'm on the wall.
Come on, Pat.
I took the opportunity to get on the wall. My big mug is right in the center of the 5 photos. And
That's good for you. So you're from Plum.
yes, Plum
Holiday
High School.
Park, right?
Holiday Park, yes. Right on the border of Murraysville
Mm-hmm.
and Monroeville.
Right off
in Plum.
286, right?
Yes, right
Yeah.
behind the Burger King.
Yeah, your old
Oh,
company,
yeah, I
Phillips
know where
Restaurant.
Phillips was
Yeah.
up there.
You had a
right?
little,
Yeah.
you had a spot right
I
there.
went to visit you there.
Oh, you did. So that's Holiday Park right there. I didn't even. Oh, I guess I did see a sign there once or twice. I don't pay
Oh
attention.
yeah,
to
they
shit.
have a big housing
Yeah.
plan back in there.
Yeah, I know. Up
Yeah,
on that
everything's
hill.
named after a holiday. Like the streets are named after resort areas.
Oh,
Oh, really?
Yeah, Pine Valley, Malabar, Surfside was a street. Yeah,
Wow, that's cool. Never knew that.
yeah.
There's some
I knew that.
There's some Pittsburgh inside info, Doug. Right there.
yeah.
kid.
Holiday Park is
Holiday
named
Park.
after holiday places you go on holiday.
Nice.
Nice.
Nice. So, what did you do in Holiday Park growing up?
yeah. What was the games to play? What did
Yeah.
you
Were
do?
you born around here, or
Yeah, so I was born there.
what hospital?
McGee.
McGee.
Yeah.
You're a fancy dancy kid. Wow.
1971.
1971.
And
We can edit that out if you want us to.
Oh, that's okay because they'll see me and know that I look not a day over 1985. I take pride in that. I grew up with a bunch of boys on my street.
Good,
So
That makes sense to me.
I always think about that because growing up, I was very tomboyish. I broke both my pinkies playing football.
Oh my!
There you go.
Tackle.
Yeah, so I played football, all sports, kick the can, release, all the different games.
Nice.
But I really thought I was a boy back then, and I think so. It's always interesting to me not to get into politics.
Well, you were a
but-
tomboy.
Yeah,
Yeah, you were a
but like,
tomboy.
but
My
then once I got
wife
into
was too.
high school, I was all girly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so born and
So
raised.
she was born in the 70s. She kicked that answer already, Dubs.
Yeah,
1970. Who was the
71.
president
You guys are in the
at that time?
60s.
President,
You guys are in
yeah.
the
Was a-
60s. Nixon. I had to look it up.
Richard Dick
I had to look
Nixon.
it up because I was 3 when he got out of office.
Tricky Dicky.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think who was when we never.
I was 65, so
I'm 67.
I was.
Kennedy.
No, I think he
no.
was dead in 64. I think.
63 he died.
Yeah, he was
63?
buried on my birthday.
Yeah, he
Oh,
died.
boy.
But I
in
wasn't alive yet.
He died in 1963.
Yeah, my parents loved him. Everybody liked him.
So when he passed,
Johnson.
Lyndon B. Johnson.
Lyndon B. Johnson. It's probably the end of his
And then
term.
we caught Nixon, and then
Yeah.
I can remember Nixon doing the resignation and all that stuff.
I don't remember that. I would have been 3.
I can remember
Yeah.
that.
I don't think I was watching politics.
It might have been.
Yeah, I remember my
You
mom.
might have been at my house.
My mom, no, I was at home. It was before school, and that helicopter comes and
Yeah.
takes it away, and people are flipping.
I
out.
remember when Reagan was shot.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
From Hinckley.
I was in the car with my mom. We were waiting for my brother. He was in soccer practice.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
the news came on.
Yeah.
President Reagan was shot. I was like, oh,
Of course. That was crazy.
yeah. I remember it like it was yesterday.
It was in spring.
Yeah.
Springtime.
Crazy.
I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah,
know
it was
what-
in spring. It was during.
Hinckley.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I remember I was at
John Hinckley.
I was
think,
up
right?
at Pivic Junior High, which was the junior high. There were 2 junior highs at Plum, and I was up at Pivic Junior High and waiting for my brother to get off the soccer field. And I know he didn't play soccer past junior high, so it had to have been probably like 75 maybe or 76. When was he? Maybe late
No,
70s.
Reagan got shot in 80.
Oh, 80. Okay.
1980.
Okay, then I must have been a little older.
He might have
Yeah.
been a little older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got shot in 80.
Yeah. 1980. Yeah.
My ADD
Bush.
is kicking in because I'm jumping all over these questions. Like, what is your earliest memory of newsworthy event? It was Reagan being shot.
Yeah.
I mean, really. I remember
That's
that.
interesting because that was someone else's thought too. Mike Llewellyn. He
Was
remembered
it?
that. He,
Oh, I also remember when the movie The Day After came out. Do you remember that movie?
That was
The
about
Day
the
After with a
bomb,
nuclear
right?
bomb.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
a
I don't
big
even-
deal. It was so scary.
I don't want to, I don't even talk about that now. It scares the hell out of me.
I know, but watch the movie The Day After because when I was probably like maybe 7 or 8 when it came out,
so
and
that scared you at that age.
oh god, yeah, we used to hear sirens. I used to be so afraid of the Russians growing up. It was like
Cold
the
War.
Russians are gonna.
They
Us,
used
we're
to
gonna be
drag us
dead.
down to the basements and
Oh, yeah.
and stuff.
I mean, I would be sitting in my house and you hear, and I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Oh my, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Don't you remember they would make us do those
Under the desk.
drills
I
under
remember
the
the
desk.
desks when I was young. Yeah.
basement.
Did you guys ever get the shot where you have the little
Yeah,
scar?
smallpox.
I didn't get that. I
No,
don't have the scar.
Chris's age was the last
I
year.
have- I have
Some of them
it.
got them, and some of them
do
didn't.
you have it?
He was
No.
the last year.
You have it because you're 59.
When I got the smallpox vaccination, I
got
had a bad reaction to it and almost died. So I was in Children's Hospital for a month. There was a lot of kids that were getting reverse action to it, and I almost died. I turned total black and blue. So that's when they started going, "Oh, we might have something wrong here." You know,
Okay.
they think they had enough of the population. So I think your year, Dubs, was the last year they did it because my brother doesn't have it.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
don't,
have it?
I don't have it.
We're
I don't
only
have
at
it
They
either.
wouldn't give it to him because I had such a problem.
It's crazy though because you'll see somebody's arm and you'll see it on there, the little
Yeah.
scar. You know,
Sometimes they're huge.
I know.
My grandpap had 4 of them somehow because he came from Italy, you know.
Oh,
and he had
yeah, they
some
put-
over there, and he had to get some here. He had a bunch on there. But when you were kids, that vaccination score was huge. Mine is just almost gone. now.
I
Mine's-
can't
mine's
even, I can't
sexy.
even see it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
I
mine's
feel like
almost
I'm not
gone
seeing- I
too.
see it a little bit.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
It's a circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy, that thing.
But when we were little, that thing was the scar for a long
Oh,
time.
oh, I
Believe me, it
remember.
scarred me for
again,
life.
I remember I brought it up.
Yeah. When you were a kid, though, did you have athletes? I mean, you said you were a tomboy. What athletes?
No, I was I ran track. I was a really fast runner, sprinter. So what was crazy was I was really, really skinny, but I was really tall. So I got to run on the 50-yard dash
Yeah.
under 100 pounds
Wow.
as a
100
ninth
pounds.
grade. Yes, it was
Yeah.
the under 100. So
Holy
back in
smokes.
junior high, it was based on weight, and then
Wow.
once
Oh,
you got
it
into
was.
high school,
Really?
it was not by weight. So once we got into like the weights, I was I was not fast anymore, but I was very fast compared to
For a little
sixth
shit.
graders.
For a little shit, yeah.
So when did it flip from tomboy to want to be no longer a tomboy? Maybe
I
start
think
dating boys and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
In high school, you think?
I want to say like around ninth grade.
Yeah.
And nature kicked in and took
I
over.
was just like, I want to
Go to the dances and all that stuff.
pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it turned, and I've been girly ever since. Yeah,
Heck yeah.
but I can still be I feel like I act like a man.
Well, you have a Pittsburgh attitude for
I
a
do.
lady,
I have
which
grit.
all our
I
Pittsburghers
have
know
grit.
well and love it well.
Yeah, you got to have
That's
grit.
another thing we talk about
Every
is
time I
grit.
meet anyone from outside of Pittsburgh that works with me in business, because I work in London, people in London and New York and LA, and they always say, "You guys have grit."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yes, we do. That's our
Yeah.
differentiator. We have grit."
No doubt about it. No true words have been spoken. Wherever I go, you just know it.
Because I do think we came from less, Pittsburgh was down a
The
little
work
bit.
ethic has always just been.
Growing up, we
Yeah.
were always the underdog.
Yeah.
I remember riding into the city and it just being a black smog mess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I think
And-
that's like the Pittsburgh Steelers carry that same attitude. They were talking about it last night on Monday Night Football, where even our coach,
Yeah.
really, has that same attitude.
He's not from here though.
No, but he has that attitude. Like
He's from
must
Detroit or
practice.
something, right?
They must.
Virginia.
They must
Virginia.
practice like way
Like-
beyond any other team. Like
Yeah,
Sunday,
like you
they're
gotta have grit.
practicing. Yeah, I mean,
Well, yeah, I just think it's a cultural thing because we were so deeply blue collar for so long.
I think it's too
And
true.
Then we changed, when the steel mills and all the factories left. We
Right.
started.
Well, they always say we reinvented ourselves quicker than
Yeah.
most
Oh, yeah.
cities. I always say Pittsburgh is it's not bipolar. It's not always up very high and it's
No.
not down very low or just
Right.
kind of just good.
Keeps on fighting.
We're-
people just keep digging.
Yep.
So, how did you pick Duquesne to go to school? What were your
So I got a
thoughts there?
scholarship.
Did you?
Yes, dancing.
dancing,
The
that's-
Duquesne
oh,
University
this is a good story.
Tamburitzans.
Tamburitzan.
Yeah. She's a Tamburitzan,
Eastern
dude.
European folk dancing.
Wow.
They paid for my whole college. Yep.
That's where you do them like
Yeah, you do like the Serbian and
Yeah,
Croatian,
You'd be
Hungarian.
no, you wouldn't be good
Are you?
at all.
Are you guys
No.
any of you Eastern European?
No.
I'm sure part of us, but Dubs would not be a good Tamburitzan. I just want
No.
to state that.
I would.
He would
There'd
be like a
people getting
three
thrown
feet,
off the stage.
Yeah.
2 left feet.
I'm good at like
guy.
throwing things.
Yeah, he's good at
Well,
lifting
they used
things.
to throw us around. They used
Yeah, I
to
can
throw
do
the
that.
girls. They used
If
to
there
throw
was
the
a
girls.
dude that could
Yeah.
just throw somebody or something.
Yeah, you'd be the best at that.
I'd be best at that.
So to go there, yeah,
have twinkle
we went
toes.
away every weekend of the year, and we went away all summer.
Yeah.
So we
So how'd
really
you-
earned our money.
How'd you
Yeah.
get into the
So what is
Tamburitzans?
your,
Talk about that.
Are you
What the heck?
Serbian then? Or?
No, my mother wanted us. My mother, when she was in college, she went to Muskingum where she met my dad, and they met there. And the Tamburitzans came in and performed, and she was like, "Oh, I wish I could have been a Tamburitzan." So she spent her whole life making us Tamburitzans. So
really?
that's how she got. My sister was one too.
So
Yeah.
how do you become a Tamburitzan?
You
I
try
mean, it's
out.
the furthest thing from
Yeah,
where
you
at?
try
Where do you try
out.
out? Tamburitzanville?
No.
I mean, I have no clue.
Yeah, no. I was one of 4 women that got in the group that year.
Wow.
Where is it?
So it's in Pittsburgh. You go down and try out in like March of your senior year of high school.
Oh yeah,
And there was probably like 100 people that tried out, and there was probably like 20 slots, maybe 15,
yeah.
and 4 of them were women. So I was one of 4 women that got in my year.
See, isn't this show the greatest? We're learning about Tamburitzans.
I didn't even know
I
men.
know,
I
full
didn't-
scholarship ride. I couldn't afford to go to
That's
college.
awesome. I can't
you know.
believe men. I didn't even know men were Tamburitzans. Maybe
Yeah,
I
well,
just
they're,
always
they're
concentrated on the
musicians
chicks.
and they dance. A lot of them are raised in the culture.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
like they're raised in ballet or that kind of dance. It's like they're
Right.
raised in they're Serbian and their family raises them in
Really?
the culture, and
That's Serbian.
that's how they're dancing. Yeah,
I didn't even know it was Serbian. I knew
Serbian,
nothing about
Croatian,
Russian,
Hungarian,
Eastern European.
Russian, Ukrainian, all of the Eastern European.
Oh wow!
Countries.
You kind of look Eastern Europe. Did you have like blonde hair then, or what?
I did ancestry. I am almost 40% Scottish. German is my next one. And then I'm a little Irish and
Yeah.
British.
Depends
and
on if they
English
swam across
and
and made
little
some whoopee.
French. Little French. Yeah.
Wow! So you're a Tamburitzan. So all as I can remember, I would see them on the news every now and then. The
Yeah, that was
Tamburitzans
a big
did this,
deal.
and then you would have an outfit, right? Some Eastern European
We have
outfit?
many outfits.
Is it like that Irish jig stuff, or I don't know what
we
kind
never
of
did
dance?
Irish, which I wish we would have, but we didn't. So,
What do they call it? Like the dance?
You're like a
well,
dance
it's
troupe.
Eastern European. Yeah, you're doing. I mean, this is a big culture in the
but
Pittsburgh
I mean,
market.
it's not like Irish dance. They don't have a name for
But
the
no,
dance
it's very
itself.
similar.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So the shest, I think, is the Serbian, if I can remember. Oh yeah, the kolo was the Croatian.
Mm-hmm.
So the God, it's been over 27 years.
So they have a name. For,
Actually, it's been over 34 years
so they
since
have
I graduated.
a name for the specific dance because
yes,
of the region.
there's
it's
like all
from.
these different dances in different regions. Yes.
Oh,
Boy, that's
Like
interesting.
Bulgarian.
I do remember.
We're
that.
having a fella from Bulgaria come on here soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. What's his name?
Real Bulgarian. Bob Bulgarian.
Bob
No,
Bulgarian. I don't know.
Chris
He's
knows.
Bulgarian.
Ivanov.
Okay, that doesn't sound familiar.
No.
So,
Wow.
I
So
want to get into this question.
So
How
you
were we
hold
getting
on.
into
I
this
want to
question?
get.
No, back to the Tamburitzans. So Tamburitzans.
So did you do 4 years of that in college?
Yes,
Did
they
you,
paid for my whole school.
Did you tour? What did you? Because I remember
We went
you guys
away
used to-
every weekend.
Oh,
Really?
We traveled all over the country. I've been to every state but 2. Alaska. I had never been to Maine, and I just crossed that off this summer.
Wow.
I haven't been to Hawaii and Alaska at this point. I've been through every single state because we did 100 shows a year, and we went across the whole country.
While
Yeah.
you were in college.
Yes, and then we would
That's
do
interesting.
tours. So in the summer, we would do May. We'd go the whole month of May. It's called the May tour. So everybody would finish school, and we'd tour the whole month. We go all across the country. California.
Wow.
Like a big circle. And then we had Turkey tour, which is around Thanksgiving, which was like a week and a half. And then Christmas, we would go away for like 2 weeks.
I remember it being a big deal in the news all the time.
Oh, yeah.
The Tamburitzans
They're
are
in
blah, blah,
town.
blah.
It was. They used to be
Heinz
very
Yeah.
international
Yeah.
and sign autographs and everything. So when I
No
got in the
kid.
group, it was a little bit less than that. Wait, do you guys still have the same thing where whenever they talk about the year like 1990 and then they say what's today, and you think it's like 10 years later?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I have that.
like
all
there's
the
a
time.
problem with going from the
it
90s to
is.
the 20s.
But
It feels like it's
Honest
like
to
5
goodness,
years
I
ago.
don't really remember a whole lot of things from.
The 80s and 90s.
No, I remember. all of
I
that.
remember all that.
I don't
You're-
remember 2005 to say 2000.
Because you worked like a
Yeah, you
maniac.
have
Yeah.
kids and
You
you're
work-
working like a dog.
you
You're
work like a
go home and
maniac.
sleep and you get up.
I remember 2011 though. Where were you? Where were you?
Oh yeah, when
on
that happened,
9/11?
sure, I can remember that. I was in Pittsburgh in my building down there, and that
Me
happened.
too. I worked at
couldn't
WDVE
believe
Radio at Staple.
The
No,
9/11.
that's,
Yeah.
That was when 01.
Yeah, 2001.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do remember that. I
worked at WDVE Radio,
Oh, you were
and
that, huh?
Yeah.
and I went in and because
You
I was
were
always
DVE
late.
with
yeah,
Scott.
Yeah, I worked. It was 100% commission, so I was like, I'll come in when I want.
salesperson.
Yeah, it's like I'll come in when I want.
Yeah.
'cause, you know, you don't pay me to come in. So.
Yeah, right.
So as I was driving in was when I had left my house and I saw the first plane hit, and I was like, I live 5 minutes away, so I was
Right.
like,
This has got to
that?
be a
What's
mistake.
that? They were like, they thought it was a helicopter or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, a small
it was
plane.
Like,
They thought it
yeah,
was a
and
small
I'm
plane.
like,
Yeah, I
oh,
remember
okay.
that.
So of course I drive in 5 minutes, and I'm not listening to the news on the radio or anything. I'm listening to WDV, and I get in, and then everybody's like around because this is now around like 9:15, which is when
Yeah.
the second plane hit, and everybody's around the television. And I'm like,
Freaking
what is
out.
going on? And they're like, oh my god, a second plane! Oh my god, you know.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
And that was when everybody
Well,
said,
there was
go
1,000
home.
people in there.
Yeah.
People were
Like-
jumping off the building.
Yeah, like they were like, go home.
They
You know
were-
what I mean?
It's
Go
am-
home.
it's
It was just
amazing.
like as it was happening, you just weren't even like I couldn't concept.
It's amazing how fast people forget things like that.
Oh,
That there's
That
people in the
was
world that
20
would do that to other human beings
23
and Americans
years
because they hate
ago.
America so much.
23 years ago.
But I mean, it's kind of crazy.
I remember.
huh?
I remember like it was yesterday.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
Crazy.
yeah. That's the.
You know, it was
more
interesting
lifetime
though.
that you never, ever forget.
Pittsburgh was part of that mix
Yeah.
because the plane turned around over Pittsburgh, and because I was at DVE and it was
Yeah.
a radio station, they were like, "Everybody go
Getting there.
home." A plane just flew low over Pittsburgh, and I
Yeah,
remember saying to
I remember
myself,
that.
"Pittsburgh? Why is Pittsburgh part of this mix?" Right?
Yeah.
And you know, and then of course it crashed. It was on its way apparently
Shanksville.
apparently it was on its way to the White House. Apparently,
He
Yeah.
got,
Yeah.
he got off track somehow. He made a
Oh yeah, because they
mistake.
attacked. No,
Yeah, they-
attacked.
remember?
They
Yeah,
rushed the-
that's when they. But I mean, he was headed. He was almost.
I thought it was
He was in
Cleveland.
Ohio.
Yeah.
Up in Ohio
Right.
there, because Huss was part of the public safety
emergency
stuff
team or
whatever.
something. Yeah.
In Johnstown, I think at the time, and they were getting calls from the towers because those towers all line up, and they were able to determine that that flight was way off course. It was supposed to go to Washington D.C. And the dude didn't know what he was really doing. They knew how to fly planes.
It was the fourth flight, and it was going towards D.C.
Yeah.
They said either the Capitol or the White House.
Yeah, who knows, right?
Then he figured it out, and he turned around, and that's when those people started getting calls from their loved ones saying they're going to take you down.
Yeah.
You better do something.
Yeah, and that guy said, "Let's roll." Isn't that his line? Let's roll.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Beamer.
Terrible.
Yeah, and
terrible.
that's 23 years ago, and it seems like a long time ago, but we tend to forget a lot of the people that are out there that don't like us so much.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, they're prime and ready
Yeah, I guess.
to hit us.
Kind of crazy. Are your mom and dad, are they still in Pittsburgh? Are they still alive? Or?
My mother died 2 years ago.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
That's okay. Yeah, she was 81.
Wow.
And then my dad is still alive. Yeah, he's in a nursing home.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you're the youngest by quite a bit, so they would be that age, right?
yeah, so they were in their 30s. My mom was 30 when she had me. So
Which
we were
was
30
long in
years
the tooth
apart.
back in the day.
Yeah, that was like you're
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What part of your town is your dad in?
He grew up in Shaler.
Shaler.
Yeah, my mom grew up in Baldwin.
Baldwin.
Wow.
South Hills.
And they both went to Muskingum, and they met
Yeah.
there.
Boy, is that neat?
They always said the story. She was a sophomore, and he was a freshman, and they had to have a freshman buddy. And my mom got him, my dad.
No kidding.
And when you talk to my mom, it was like, back then, it was like they actually went to college to get a husband. They didn't go to college to have a career. Like a lot of women would do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Oh, yeah. She was there to meet a man. Because if they don't meet the man in high school, they go off to college.
Oh, you got to meet him at college, yeah. There wasn't any internet. You weren't like, no. You were stuck with the dude across the street, I guess.
Yeah, because she got out of college and then she was like, I think a social worker. Like she wasn't really into a career.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude across the street.
Yeah.
What's Biff doing? What's Biff doing these
Oh,
days?
shit. I'm down to Biff. So your grandparents were from here? Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Had to be, I guess.
I'm not really sure where my grandparents grew up. So I just know that they were in Shaler. They raised a family in Shaler,
Right.
my dad's side. And my grandfather worked at KDKA. He ran the band back when it was, music and everything.
Yeah.
He was like the
Oh, no
he ran the whole
kidding.
musical. Yeah, he was very musical. So,
Yeah. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why you got into advertising, maybe, or marketing, or knew the
No,
name?
my aunt, my dad's younger sister, was a media director at an agency in Ohio, and so she used to talk to me about that, and I just loved watching commercials.
So that's how you got into that. You watched TV
I
and
knew
you
since
had
I was a
an
little kid.
Yeah?
No
I knew
kidding.
Since I was a little kid.
Did you want to be on the commercials or did you want to create?
No, I wanted to be the creator, and then I would watch. I laughed because when I was trying to think of maybe putting this into my high school speech. But like I used to watch Dynasty and all that. Like I wanted to be,
Yeah, we were all poor.
What was her name?
that
Abby.
was
Abby on Knots Landing.
that
Like
was
she was a baller,
Yeah.
businesswoman. And then Dynasty
She was a
was
baller.
Alex.
She was a baller.
Alexis.
Alexis like
Like
threw dudes in pawns.
yes. I mean, I was like, I want to be that.
Yeah,
Well,
she
that's
was,
it.
No, I mean, I'm not.
Tomboy mixed
I'm not
with
that
pretty woman, right?
Yeah, I'm not that calculated
Right.
at this age, but I just knew I wanted to be like in business, and I wanted to be like.
I want to compete.
I did. I think about that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was inspired by Dynasty.
Well, ever since I've known you, you've
Knots
had that.
Landing.
Yeah, you've had that
Dallas.
Dallas.
spit and vinegar in her, man. She had turbocharged when the day I met her. So I'm like, wow,
Yeah. Yeah.
So?
You can't knock me down.
man, you're a Pittsburgh girl, babe. That's no doubt about it. I think the first time I met you, I can remember meeting you one of the first couple of times. You said, "I'm going to stay. I'm going to be in my own business. I'm building my own business." I'm like, "Wow, you had to be in your 20s, right?"
Oh, yeah. I
Because
started.
I think I was probably in my late 20s.
Yeah, I started my business at 32.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I looked 20. So that's I
Yeah,
probably
you
just
might have looked a lot younger.
Just looked that young. It's so funny. I had a client when I first started my business. I got this really big client, and the woman who ran the marketing was probably like almost 60 at the time.
Yeah.
And the one woman used to be like, she used to say to me, she goes, put your hair up, put glasses on. Like she would try to make me dress up to look older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what does it matter? She goes, well, you just look too young. I don't think you should be in front of the CEO and stuff looking that young. And I'm like, I always looked at my, like when I was in my 30s, I looked like I was in my 20s, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm just starting to look like I should have a business now.
There you go.
Yeah.
You got a lot of room to go then.
Yeah. I look like I'm 40.
Your best years are
You look
ahead of
young
you.
still.
Yes.
I was going to ask you earlier. I had a question about branding and things like that. You're trying to brand a company on a big scale. How do you do that with general branding?
Lots of money.
Lots of money. Just like same
Spoken
thing,
like a true media person.
repetitive over and over and over messaging of the
yeah.
vision, or what are you
So-
messaging typically?
The short answer is you have to invest in marketing. A lot of people don't realize that, hiring an agency or hiring somebody to put your brand together, it's an investment like anything else in a business.
Yeah.
And I think where people go wrong is they try to do it on a shoestring budget, or they try to not value it.
Right.
And so the long run, it does cost you a lot more money if you don't consistently do it.
And you say 10% when you're talking a lot of money.
Depends
of
if
gross
you're B2B
revenue.
or
yeah,
B2C.
no, it's as small as for a B2C company, it's usually like 5 to 10% of your gross revenue.
Yeah,
It's
gross
not a
revenue.
lot.
It's not a lot.
But when I say that to people, they're like, "What?"
Well, it's
you know,
gross
like they
revenue,
just
though.
they have
Yeah.
a heart attack, and it's like,
Well, these companies that are, like Google and all those kind of things, they spend 40.
Google
50%.
spends
Nike
spends like 10 billion or
is
something.
Nike has
CapEx
been
is 40%
historically
of the
over.
revenue.
Nike's the best. Is above 70% of revenue. So
That's crazy.
it tells you how cheap they're making their shoes because they're
So they're basically a marketing company.
they're basically
No,
a
that's what
market-
they end up being.
That's what they are, marketing company.
Personal injury law firms are like that. They
Yeah.
spend
Yeah.
about 20% of their revenue in
Yeah.
marketing because they are marketing.
They're
That's
everywhere.
how their leads get.
They're everywhere.
Because one lead gets them a ton of cash.
Yeah,
so.
one lead could turn into a multi-million dollar
A
case.
lot of it is if you're B2B, business to business or business to consumer, your competition.
Yeah.
I mean, like
What's your
food is
competition
obviously
doing?
way more competitive than something else. You know, what I mean,
Right.
so every category is much different. I mean, podcasts to me are the hard ones. But it's all social. It's and you really got to know your audience, and it's different. But
But you
every
could build a
company's
brand with no money. It's called grit.
Yeah. Just keep doing
guerrilla
No,
marketing.
yeah, a lot of times you have you define your brand and you have a niche and you go out and market it and you do it slow and you start building. And I've seen brands build, which is one of the things I like to try to do for clients right now is there's a deodorant brand called Lumi, if you've ever heard of it.
Yeah,
I remember
it's
seeing
great.
their first ad was just on YouTube and it was the gynecologist and she's
she's
just
like
like
putting it
she's
on
like,
like
hey, and and then the funny thing is she started out that way, and then next thing you know, you see her on national television, and you think of like My Pillow, and
build it just like
and you think of all these brands, and they start out
they
small,
have
and
people, other people do the Lumi commercials now.
yes,
than just
yes,
her.
yes,
Oh, yeah,
yes.
yeah.
The point is she's done grassroots marketing,
Yeah.
which she started out probably with a very small marketing
money,
budget,
yeah.
and it took off, and she's a good product.
Yeah, she has a good
A lot of
product,
times, I think you have to have, I call it a 3-legged stool. You have to have one leg has to be your product or your service. What are you doing? Is it good? Do people want it? One is who's selling it, who's doing it, who runs the company, and the
Right.
third is marketing. You can't.
Yeah.
One does not overpower the other.
Right.
Good marketing does not solve a bad product
No,
and bad company owners.
You're
You
giving
know.
me stress. I will tell you, you see companies that do their value statement or their core values, and you go, "Well, yeah, okay."
Yeah.
If a company is really good and they have a long term vision, they wrote those values down for a reason. Because there are times when things get kind of off track.
Yeah.
And if you come back to your values and do the right thing by your customer, you will continue to survive.
Yeah, the vision stays. Maybe the product changes or
You see-
development.
This is why you have a lot of good, people that seek out your
You have
advice because you've always cared about the client.
Yeah, and if you have those values, I don't want to say I've had a client before where a restaurant where people were getting sick as food, and the owner of the company said, at first you go, okay, deny, right? And it was onions or lettuce or whatever. And he came back and says, listen, our values do the right thing for our customers. He came out the next morning, did a press conference, said, hey, listen, people are getting sick on such and such. And bam, their business bounced back like that. Now, what was the other one that had that? Mexican. Chili's came
or not
out.
Chili's.
Chi-Chi's. Tried to hide under the rock. They tried to hide under the rock.
buried them.
Buried them because they weren't.
Yeah,
People
They
don't
went
trust
under
them
it.
anymore.
People died.
I'm not trusting you
from
anymore.
buying it, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't trust.
Yeah, so a lot of that comes back to your values. I don't care if you're in trucking. It doesn't matter what you're in.
Yep.
People will forgive you if you come back and continue to do the right thing.
and be honest. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So, was there any times during your business that you wanted to pack it in?
Is that a loaded question?
Yeah. Like,
And what made you,
Stick it out.
stay? Not just grit, but like there has to be. There, I know you have grit because I can feel it on you. You were a tough.
Yeah.
Person. But what else do you think?
Well, my
goes in
parents. I was actually a child of extreme hoarding.
hoarding?
Hoarding.
Who hoarded?
My parents.
Oh, did they?
So, grew up with the whole house, like
Yeah.
stuff on the porches,
Packed with stuff.
The whole house was the trash in the backyard,
Yeah.
trash all throughout the house. And growing up in that environment, as much as my parents were both college educated and very smart, it hurt. Right,
Yeah.
it hurt my growth abilities, and so when I decided to go out on my own and start my own business, there was no safety net. There was
Right.
no,
Right.
this can't work.
Right.
Like there was no choice. There was no backwards.
There was no
right?
alternative.
And then when I met my husband, he also grew, youngest of 7 kids in a 2-bedroom house in Carrick.
Right.
There was no safety net there too.
Right.
So I want to say that I think when you have no options but to push
Yeah.
through,
You can't give up.
You don't give up. So I think it's a combination of there's no options. This is it. I don't think I could work for companies. I'm just not a company person. I don't like to play games, and I don't like to. Corporate America is not me. So
Yeah, it's
you
not
know,
me
so
To
yeah,
be quite honest
so
with you, it's
yeah,
not me.
so I was like, well, I can't go back to that. I can't work for people. So I think that's what really drove me, and the ups and downs and the kicks in the guts. I used to say that it was like, 10 kicks and maybe one
Hug.
up on the saddle, or
Yeah.
one, and then
Yep.
10 more kicks, and it gets tough. It gets
Yeah.
really tough. At the end of the day, the feeling of owning your own business, as you know, and I do like the I'm in control of my destiny
Future,
kind
yeah.
of thing.
Sure.
It's my effort I put in wins, or the effort I don't put in doesn't win, or the effort I put in doesn't win.
Nobody's fault but your own.
Yeah, like I feel like it's all on me, and at this age it gets a little harder and harder to
Yeah.
keep pushing through. But
Yep.
20 years in,
20
so.
years. That's fabulous. Might as well wrap it.
It's
huh?
a good wrap.
Yes.
Perfect. Well,
Are we
hang
ready
up.
to
Hang
hang
it
up?
up, Shea. Thank you so much for being here. We
thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Enjoyed it.
You're a sweetheart, baby.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you.